All right, I'm recording now. So for any future students that are interested in applying to, elite universities in America, we have Vivian, who has been accepted to places like Harvard and MIT, and she just recently committed to MIT. So huge congratulations to you. I just really informally kind of wanted to ask what do you think helped you get into places like Harvard and MIT?
Um, I think it was more about just being able to show my passion through my writing, and like people have different passions and it doesn't really need to be STEM related. Maybe say you want to apply to MIT, but whatever it is that you're passionate about, like colleges want to know who you really are and whether you're a fit for them. And so if you want to try to change yourself for the college, then I don't think you really enjoy your experience. So it's about showing them the passion. And then also for African students, I think that there's really a need to set yourself apart from like other applicants, because like we know most countries don't have AP classes, you don't have weighted GPA and things like that. And sometimes you don't even have opportunities to maybe start a nonprofit and things like that. But whatever it is that you can do with whatever you have, that's important. That's what they need. So I know of a guy who got into Harvard some years back, under Education USA. And what happened with him is he was from the rural areas and his family was really struggling and he didn't have a lot of things. He didn't even have money to write national examinations. And so what did he do? He took on a job and so that he could pay for his own examinations. And he took only 5 subjects because that's what he could afford. And he got 5 A's. And so when he was writing his application, he wrote about his interests and everything, but also that like extra work he put in to be able to write examination, that fighting spirit, he made sure to write about it. And it's something that Harvard liked and they took him in. So I think it's not really about maybe going all out and doing things that are out of your reach, but just doing things that you like that are within your reach is pretty important to just straight true to yourself and find yourself where you want to be or where you must be.
That's very solid advice. Well, so what are some things you think you did that set you apart from everyone else?
Well, there was this day, and my class teacher just came into the class and she was like, we have Olympiads that are being held at the school and we don't have any people that have volunteered. And people were like, you didn't even tell us, we didn't prepare and everything. So she was like, who wants to volunteer and stuff? Then I just thought, well, since I'm going to take final examinations, maybe this would be a good chance to just practice. And so I took those examinations and I didn't really expect that I would do so well because I hadn't prepared for that beforehand. But I actually managed to make it into the top 100 for all 3 subjects, that's math, physics, chemistry, and stuff. But even without that result, I think just taking the Olympiad and being able to write about that in my application was something that was different from, let's say, the next student who just had like their classes and nothing else that they were really doing. Then also, um, I'm really interested in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But like in Zimbabwe, I think it's like that in most African countries, you just get to do like one thing. It's either you're doing sciences, commercials, or arts. And so you actually refer to each other as a science student and art student and stuff in high school. And but I'm really interested in entrepreneurship. And so there's this program, it's called Junior Achievement Zimbabwe. I think it's also in the US. So it's kind of a chapter. And it's entrepreneurship based. And so I joined that. It's more like you start a company as a group of students and then you compete for the national level. Then you go into regional and stuff. But initially at my school, it was only for commercial students because that's what linked to their subject. But then a new teacher came in and he was like, if you want to join, you can do that. And so I was also part of the people who went there. And I was the only person in my class who actually joined Junior Achievement Zimbabwe. And other people were like, we don't want to take time from our studies and everything. But I just really gave it my all. And we started a reusable sanitary ware company and stuff and stuff. And I really discovered along the way that I really am passionate about period poverty. And yeah. we came out fourth place, and that's something I wrote about in my essays as well. And so I think just that, um, you know, difference in trying to maybe not be in a box and trying to just like be free and explore the things that I want to be doing is something that would definitely set me apart. And so I'll just encourage you to just like be you and just try to discover what you really love, because if you're in a country like mine, then you would be doing like maybe sciences, commercial arts, but maybe there's something else you're passionate about. And I just want everyone to go for it. I think, yeah.
Very good advice. Thank you so much, Vivian. One question I get a lot from a lot of my other JMA students is that, writing college essays can be very much like a black box. It feels like you don't know what's gonna happen when you send it to the admissions committee. Do you mind kind of telling us about what you wrote for your Harvard and MIT essays and like general topics and how you approached it?
Oh, okay. I can definitely do that.
Sure.
One thing that my mentor was really clear about was for me to just like stick to my writing style. There was a time when I felt that like my writing is not that complicated. Like I write in simple words, and yeah. So I thought that maybe I needed to put in some idioms or stuff like that. But she was like, just stay true to your voice so that it really sounds like you. And that's something that I think I should share with you also. And for MIT, there was a question on like your background, your family, or your community, like something like that. Describe any community that you belong to, your school background, family, and how that has like inspired you to become the person that you are. And for that one, I really sat down. I thought, what community should I write about? But I really stuck to the simplest. So I just wrote about like Harare, like our capital city. Like it's more like I've noticed people when I walk in the streets, everyone is basically wearing the same thing. People are going to the same joints, and I really thought, why is there no individuality in this city? And so yeah, that's what I wrote about. And so I wrote about how everyone in Harare is more for the prestige and rather than like the passion. Then I also wrote about my family and like my mother. I also became a teacher because it was respectable at the time, not really because she was passionate about it, but later on she discovered she didn't really love it and she had to leave it all without any networks, capital, etc. She just moved to South Africa and started like working in fashion and design. And so I combined the two and I was like, so here's the negative part of my society, but this is what my family has taught me. And so that's what has shaped me. I've seen it all, but I think that I'll choose like passion over the prestige. I'll choose to take my own way than to follow the rest. So it was really so simple, just something that I saw from observation. And so I think just like, don't try to be, what can I say, too rigid or complicated. Just try to visualize like your daily life and who you really are and just like reflect that in your essays. And then for like really make use of the additional information sections, because sometimes you can't really capture everything in your application, but that section is for you to like put in what you really want to put in. And so for me, I didn't have a chance to really write about like junior achievement Zimbabwe, like what is it and what was the situation that I was in to be able to participate. Because they'll think probably it was so easy to participate, but for my additional information, I had to explain that I actually got into disputes with my science teachers because they were saying I'm doing something that's like not related to my studies. And yeah, they were really worried and I had to sneak around and continue. And so yeah, make use of that section is something else that I can say. And then what else did I write about?
I know
Oh,
Harvard
there's
has a
something.
long supplemental essay, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, before we talk about that, there's something I was thinking about. Oh, yeah. There's this thing that Africans have. I don't know where we get it from, but it's like we feel that if we talk about our strengths and our strong points, then it's more breaking. And so you find that people don't really talk about like the good things that they've done and stuff. And I also really used to be like that, but I've met people who were like able to like remove me out of that shell. And so I think when you're writing, don't try and say, oh, I really need to be humble, like it's in this way. But at the same time, don't really like come off as bragging, but just be real, because like there's some really cool things that you think you've done, and you really need to be like proud of yourself for it. And so just like write it as it is, but don't come off as proud, of course. But yeah, that's something that we definitely have a problem with. Then what else? Oh, you were talking about the supplemental essay.
Mm.
Mm. Let me just like look for it. I don't remember what it was. What. So let me minimize my screen and look for it. Sorry for the delay.
No worries, take your time.
So it says distinctive aspects of your background, personal development, or intellectual interests. And so I really sat down and I thought, like, what can I write about, considering that background is a broad word and it's really difficult. Personal development, intellectual interest. So there were two essays that I wrote for MIT, and so I had to combine those because they were like within that range, and then edit them. And so I think that's something you can also do, like recycling essays is something that can save time if you're applying to many colleges and if you have like a lot on your plate. And for me, I just talked about, also there is this thing that we have in Zimbabwe. It's called Ubuntu. Ubuntu is like a motto for the nation. It means I am because we are, or humanity towards others. And so I wrote about that. Like I was like, I'm a person from the Shona tribe, and we believe in Ubuntu. And although the world changes every day in Zimbabwe, it was very easy in the past for maybe, let's say, a neighbor to actually say, Vivian, come here, you've done something wrong. I've seen you stealing. I'm going to beat you up. That was allowed because like everyone in the community was your parent, everyone was your child. And I also wrote about like how we have like 16 official languages, but it's like almost everyone can speak the language of the majority. And so I wrote about how that influenced like me growing up, just that togetherness, living for the next person, and like just appreciating everyone's humanity, and helping me to develop empathy and interconnectedness to nature and everything. That's what I wrote about. Yeah, mostly. So
Wow.
I think it was something that I might have not thought about, because it's really a bit far-fetched. But I just sat down and I thought, like, what's my background, my cultural background? And that was something super cool, because I know like these days, if even your mother beats you up really badly, you'll be like, this is child abuse. And so I thought this is something different that I can write about. And so I think just the small things that happen in life are worth taking note of. That's like what they want to know who you really are outside of your academics. I mean, you've listed all your awards, you've listed like your academics, and they know that about you, but who are you as a person? Like, what would you bring to their community? Like, what different thing do you carry? I think that's something that's really important.
Yeah. And that's really, really well said. I know a lot of people, they try to actually do the exact opposite, and that's why they don't have successful applications, where they just try to use their essays to further brag about their achievements, and they don't convey anything about who they are. Or on the converse, they try to be too tacky with their essays, and they start talking about, just random stuff that aren't related to look cool or look better than they actually are, and it comes across as disingenuous. But really, it's so refreshing hearing that you were just very truly honest in a way that was very just truthful to you. And I'm so glad it paid off for you. Like really, I can't be more excited and more proud of you.
Thank you. I'm really grateful to JMA as well. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, no, I'm so glad that we got to get you a JMA mentor too. She was telling me about how great your essays were developing and how proud she was. She actually messaged me right after you got your admission results, and she messaged me this big email and said, "Oh my God, look what Vivian did. I'm so glad. You know, this was all her. She's so amazing." And I said, "Wow, like it's really amazing."
Thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. Yeah. Did you have any last minute advice or any tips or tricks you want to tell to anyone else?
Hmm. Also, what did I want to say? And there's this thing that Zimbabweans do. I don't know if well, I think international students do this a lot.
Hmm.
Like people just apply to Harvard, Yale, MIT, Princeton, and I don't remember the other school, like schools that are need blind. But I don't think that's necessarily bad. You can really have those schools, but in reality, we know it's really hard to get into those schools, and you don't want a situation where you might end up without a school. And so I really think you should like widen your range and like research into schools that are you like a niche, like schools that you like that might not be part of that list, but something that you like personally, not like what the world likes. I think that's that's something that you could take note of because like I had rich schools, target schools, safety schools. I made sure that no matter what happened, I would like make it to the US. So if that's your dream, then I think it's really something that you ought to be careful about. Because like I know a lot of people who end up not getting admitted because like they try to like fit themselves into a range of schools that maybe is not a match with them. But
Yeah.
it's also not bad to like go for like schools that may look like a distant dream because like I never thought I'd get into MIT, truth be told. And I never even knew anything about Harvard apart from the name before I applied. I was just like, so they're giving me a free waiver. I'm going to apply. And I did that. So I'm saying you might want to be going to those schools because like you know how prestigious they are, but also look for smaller schools that you might be interested in, like a different range of schools. That's definitely something that would help.
Wow. Very well spoken advice, and I hope this really does benefit students all over that want to go and aim for any college that really is best set for their future goals. But thank you so much, Vivian. This was great. I'll stop the recording now.
You're welcome.